Hey guys, in today's video we're going to talk to you about spiritual sex. So this video is for you if you want to bridge the gap between spirituality and sexuality. If you've heard about tantric sex or conscious sex, sacred sex, spiritual sex, there's a lot of different ways of saying the same thing. And this is actually a question that we received from one of our listeners. So I am Céline Remy and I am the Intimacy Angel, and I'm here to bring your sexy back in life.
And I'm Kevin Anthony, the Truth Warrior, and today I'm giving it to you straight again.
So here's the question. I'm going to read it. She says that I really want to experience more of the spiritual type of sex, but my experience mostly belongs to the physical realm. Sometimes there are glimpses of something else, but they are fleeting and I'm not so sure. Is there a mindset or some practice to open that door? Also, is it possible when masturbating, or is it something that you only experience with a partner?
You know, this is actually a great question. And I love that she's asking this question because what that tells me is that she realizes that sex could go to another level. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people really get stuck in just the physical genitals rubbing together. Pleasurable, fun, limited. So what are we talking about when we say spiritual sex? Does that mean having sex with a spirit in another realm?
Well, that's not what we mean.
That's not what we mean.
Really, having spiritual sex is an experience that you are sharing with yourself or your partner, where you go beyond just the physical experience of the orgasm, where you get to higher states of pleasure, where you go higher than you've ever thought was possible, and sometimes even feel altered. It's literally like being high but without taking any drugs. You step into a different reality, into a different just energy where there's something deeper. Oftentimes you lose track of time, of like frivolities of lives, and it's just about like having this connection. There's also a very deep connection, a heart-to-heart connection with yourself or with your partner.
Absolutely. And so the key here really is that sense that you've left just the plain old physical world. And you almost feel like you're in an alternate reality. And it doesn't require, as Celine said, any drugs, anything like that. It's an energy that's created. There's this experience that you have that somehow feels like you're connecting on many more levels than just the physical. And that's really, if you want to have that kind of sex, that's the feeling that you're going for.
So the first thing to put into place in order to have this type of spiritual sex, of conscious sex, is to want to have that, is to be aware of it, because you don't know what you don't know. And of course, if you're watching this video, that means you already have awareness. So you've got that checked. The second thing, and that's something that you said about being willing to see your partner as a divine reflection of the divine, really, of seeing past the physicality of who they are, where you look deep into your beloved's eyes and see into their souls. I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but you really stop focusing on the flaws, on the things he or she says, the resentment, the things that define you, and you step into this timeless place.
Yeah, and so it doesn't matter what your beliefs are when it comes to spirituality. This has really nothing to do with any of that. And in fact, pretty much all of those, in some fashion or another, kind of say the same thing in a way that we're all one. Whether they say God made us in His likeness or whatever it is, you know, if you're more in the New Age movement, it's that we're all one. We all come from the same, you know, one source. However you choose to believe it or think about it doesn't really matter. But when you look at your partner, you want to have that idea that we are these amazing divine beings, and you're actually making love with a divine being, not just a physical body.
And you're not so separated anymore. You know, I think that in most of the regular sex, you after your very own orgasm, it's all about kind of me, my orgasm. In the more spiritual sex, you're more focused on the experience.
The journey.
Exactly. So that's how we say it is like focus on the journey rather than the destination. And no, you don't have to have like crazy rituals and pray to 26 gods or whatever that is.
That will also probably prevent you from getting there.
Exactly. It's about having the intention to experience something that you've never experienced, but without having an expectation or an agenda. And that's when it becomes really difficult. And I think for us, for the women, it means being willing to really fully surrender and let go. And it's such a vulnerable place. It could be challenging sometimes. You need to feel really safe to get to this level. So you need to have a man that you can really trust, or you need to have a connection with yourself, because you don't need a man for that to happen, but you need to have a safety and trust with whoever you are with. So if it's with yourself that works this way, or with somebody else.
And for the men, you need to be able to last long enough to go on this journey with her. So if you're used to the 3 to 7 minute long sex, you're not likely to hit these altered states in these levels. So slow it down, don't go for the ejaculation, take your time, enjoy the journey, ride the waves of it.
Absolutely. That part about not going for the first thing experience of orgasm is going to make a difference. Actually taking your time and riding the waves up and down of pleasure, you will probably need at least, at the minimum, 20 minutes. Most likely about 45 minutes. For us, when we reach these higher level, the first timing is about 20 minutes where I start to finally feel like I'm getting out of my head and can feel my body. And about 45 minutes of penetration, by the way, that's what we're talking about, is when I'm really starting to get into this altered place, because you need enough time to build enough energy to reach these heightened states of pleasure.
Yeah, and back to the original question too. She asked if she needed a partner or if she could do this by herself. And yes, you can absolutely do this by yourself. But again, you can't just do your normal masturbation and go right for your orgasm or your ejaculation if you're a guy. You have to slow it down. You have to make that practice into a journey as well.
And I have a tip here if you are single and you want to do this practice on your own, is if you can, do this in front of a mirror and look into your own eyes. It's a very powerful practice, very transformative, to be able to look at yourself the way you would look at a beloved, at somebody you utterly love fully and completely. It's always easier to do this for somebody else, and doing it for yourself will change your relationship to yourself, and then increase your self-esteem, your worthiness, and make it that you'll attract a higher caliber partner as well.
So I challenge you to try to make this happen, because I'm pretty sure that if you can get there, you won't ever want to go back to the old kind of sex you were having.
And if everyone would be having spiritual sex and more conscious sex, I think there would be no war on earth, and it would just be such a loving place. So all I have to say to you is go make love and raise this vibration. Oh, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and watch a few more videos.